New Orleans nightclub makes his first court appearance 2 years after the gunfire. Police arrested Brian Webb and 4 others yesterday. He faces second-degree murder, 11 counts of aggravated second-degree battery, and obstruction of justice. His bond was set at $1.15 million. Webb and his co-defendants are accused of opening fire at Republic nightclub in April of 2024. One West Bank woman died and 12 other people were injured.